I like that E-tap.
Oh boy.
And here we go.
Going to go ahead and, as per the usual, make it known that I hope to see high jump boots early.
Come on, spring ball.
Good to see the runners make use of AFS, appropriate fall speed, instead of this new witchcraft that was discovered this summer called Moonfall.
Ooh, and we got an E-tank.
The mathematical choice.
Well, you know, I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to say Morph Ball is in the ceiling to the right here. I know it's a risky call, but I'm feeling it.
Not exactly sure what's going on over here with Leno's stream. Hopefully we'll get that figured out here shortly.
So typwo picking up the missile pack over there in the room to the right. Now checking the miner down here, and he gets power bombs. Good find. That opens up quite a lot for him.
Let's see. Looks like we're working on getting some stuff synced up here.
There we go.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, don't freak out, chat. Feasel, he is on the case. We are in good hands.
So typo now checking beneath the old mother brain spot, finding a nice super pack. Always great to get one of those early on. I don't know about you sloaters, but especially if I don't find wave beam early, you know, which clearly doesn't happen very often. You don't find wave beam early very often. I always want as many supers as possible early because I know I'm going to have to do that glitch. And if I only get like 1 or 2 packs, I get a little nervous about it because if you start accidentally messing up, you might can run out and put yourself in a bind.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There's nothing wrong with picking up all the supers you see early on. Even checking a couple of those somewhat out of the way spots just to get an extra pack.
So unless we get bombs here, we won't have BT hype this time. Oh, wow. Right on cue, huh? I said that it very rarely happens, and of course the game spites me.
Please talk about Spring Ball next so we can see that.
Well, you know, Sloaters, given the fact that we just very rarely see Spring Ball early, what do you think when you get it early?
Well, first I have to calm down a little bit because I get pretty excited, but I mean, it doesn't do too much for you. It lets you kind of save some power bombs if you have to go through like some morph tunnels, but it does kind of give you a somewhat easy way to get into Rex ship. It's kind of difficult to time, but you can do a bounce ball over the moat instead of having to have like speed booster, grapple, or space jump. So I'm pretty sure if you have spring ball, the tournament logic can force you to wreck ship, but I haven't really seen that too much.
That was a very informative answer. Unfortunately, right now, since we need to keep up with both runners, Leno still hasn't found Morphing Ball yet. So hopefully we'll get that highlighted here. Ooh, a reserve tank. That's no fun. Oh, baby. Looks like we are about to be totally caught up here with the action. Looks like we have a very close race going on.
Yeah, it seems like Leno, like, a couple item fanfares behind it looks like, so pretty close.
Their super count now getting a lot more healthy. Of course, they won't have to use those to glitch the gate, but I'll go ahead and say it. I've done this plenty of times, and I've seen a lot of people do this in the tournament. What do you think our likelihood, Sloters, is of one of the players forgetting they have wave and trying to use their supers to glitch the gate?
I don't like saying it, but I feel like it is pretty likely because, like you said, you normally don't find wave this early, and it is very easy to forget what equipment you have.
Absolutely. I think it's at least a 50-50 shot that we see it.
9 times out of 10, when you come into that room, you're determined to start shooting super missiles up there.
Exactly. Oh, looks like Leno accidentally fell. Luckily for him, he's not going to be forced to backtrack because, he's only going to miss out on an E-Tank and whatever that miner was. I can't remember exactly what typo found over there, but he could go back for those if he wants to, but it's definitely not a requirement since he's picking up this miner right here. Got another missile pack. Yeah, it looks like it was a missile pack. Thank you, chat. Getting healthy on the supers early again.
Yeah, and you said it earlier when, you're starting off here, kind of like 30 is kind of the magic number of supers to get if you don't find charge super quick, because if you get in a scenario where you can go down to lower Norfair, you can take out Ridley pretty quickly with 30 supers.
Oh, typo, making the pro play, remembering that he has wave. Well done. Rewarded with an E-Tank. So now, unless typo finds speed booster down here at the charge location, that means that Waterway will not be able to be gotten just yet. Oh, looks like Leno also remembered he had wave. Well done to both players. So if Waterway has gravity or barrier or something like that, that could be a big deal on whether or not one of the players opts to backtrack at some point later.
Very nice damage boost by Leno to get out of that gate room there. It's not the easiest thing to time.
I'm sure Typo is quite pleased to have picked up that power bomb pack there. Running through a significant portion of the game with only one power bomb pack and a randomizer when you do not have regular bombs can be pretty tricky. So that makes things a lot easier for him. Based on the items, I mean, you never know, but based on the items, I don't think we'll see Leno go up this time. I think Leno will probably opt to just follow the same path as Typo. But here is an interesting choice, okay? We've got Grapple Beam at Spacer, which means that Typo could elect and not have to backtrack very much. He could elect to immediately go back to X-Ray. Looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. So if it turns out that something good is in X-Ray, that would be a big benefit for him. And we'll have to see what Leno chooses to do as well.
Yeah, that's not a bad call at all. I mean, since he has grapple now, wreck shipped at this point could be forced, and you can, of course, check X-Ray now. There wasn't anything really useful in wreck ship last time, so they might be thinking, hey, maybe this time something will be good in wreck ship. Maybe I should go there.
Yeah, I think the good news here is that, you know, even if you double back to check X-Ray, you're definitely not forced to go to wreck ship because even if it's nothing great, you could just simply go back out and head back over to Craig. And all you really lost was just a couple of rooms worth of time, which is not, you know, a significant amount. So, oh, Typo. Okay.
Yeah, having a little bit of trouble getting up there, but he is up there now.
It would definitely not be, that would not be the way we would want to see a runner struggle. Oh my goodness. Worth the risk. And in all sincerity, all jokes aside about high jump boots, depending on what Leno chooses to do, you know, because technically we might see Leno, you know, like let's imagine we find Varia in the next two spots. Well, that would probably mean Leno would immediately go down to Norfair, which means he'd be doing a lot of that stuff without high jump boots. This could be an incredible advantage for Typo for the next, you know, who knows, 15, 20 minutes, depending on how Leno chooses to path from here.
This is interesting now. So Typo, he initially went down Red Tower, found Grappling Beam at Spacer, so decided to go back up, but then found High Jump Boots at X-Rays, so now he's going back down.
Yeah, I don't blame him because checking Craig for the two easy items I think is good. And then, oh, look at what Leno found. This is exactly what we're talking about. So Leno is probably going to immediately go down to Norfair, which means that he will be attempting all the Norfair stuff without high jump boots, whereas Typo, doubling back and only losing a little bit of time in terms of the two rooms that he had to go through, is going to be able to find Varia as well and then have an immediate advantage for the next who knows how long that they end up staying down there, because finding Varia this early with high jump boots, Typo can essentially go straight to lower Norfair if he really wanted to. Wow, man, that's very interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see how this affects the rest of this race.
You know what I almost want to see now is Lenophis looking around kind of Norfair here for items, and if he finds Gravity, he could actually make his way into lower Norfair as well. And then there really wouldn't be too much of a time difference between these guys. But if he doesn't find Gravity, he will probably end up going back up.
Kraid had 4 opportunities during the races tonight to get into prom, and he managed to get in all 4 times. Partying hard tonight. Typo needs to be very careful here. Ooh. This is making me very nervous. A beeping sound is not what you want to hear during a Kraid fight. Okay, phew.
You know, it's funny, like, you get so used to doing the quick kill on Kraid, sometimes when you miss it, you realize you don't really have to fight him like that very much, and it's kind of frustrating sometimes.
Kraid is stronger than it might appear, because you get so accustomed to that quick kill, like you said, and then when he stands up and you don't have much health, it can actually get kind of tricky.
So Typo's got to be thinking now, I can get into lower Norfair. He doesn't have Screw or Plasma, so the enemies can do a lot of damage to him, but if he gets enough energy, it shouldn't be too bad. And also I noticed Leno picked up Screw Attack at high jump, so I would think that Typo is probably going to find that anyways, so I definitely see him going down to lower Norfair.
Yeah, the first couple items in Norfair, very strong. We got Screw and Speed Booster. Seems like the last 2 games have been quite giving when it comes to the major items.
Yeah, that last seed, I mean, at this point, coming up to Kraid's E-Tank, it was like you had every single movement-based major in the game.
Yeah. A couple of people in chat making the point, and I was just thinking this earlier, it'd be really interesting if a major item like Gravity was at Waterway. Because, you know, which player is going to opt to go back? And at what time are they going to go back?
Yeah, that can kind of be a tough call.
Leno having a little bit of difficulty here with Croc, but seems to have it back under control.
So since he doesn't have charge, he has to use ammo to do this fight, and if he runs out of ammo, he can still farm off of some of Crocmire's shots and get more ammo back, so he's not necessarily soft-locked, but it does make the fight quite a bit more annoying.
For sure. In terms of strategy right here, you know, I always want to be very clear that every single runner is different, has different preferences, different levels of comfort with you know, different portions of the game, but with what Typo is going to be coming out of here with, especially picking up Screw Attack, I would almost instantaneously go down to lower Norfair here, because all he needs is another super pack, which I'm sure he can find somewhere, and he should have enough ammo to kill Ridley. And, you know, having Screw Attack, High Jump Boots, and Meridia makes lower Norfair not nearly as dangerous as what it might be otherwise.
Yeah, really, with those items, his major concern would just be making sure he doesn't soft-lock himself at Ridley. And he does have 25 supers right now, and 25 missiles, 20 power bombs, so as long as he farms up appropriately, he should have a lot of leeway in that fight.
Man, Leno found Space Jump at Crocmire, so if he finds like another really nice item down here, then that would be 2 completely stacked Crocmires in a row. Last game we've got, what, Gravity Suit and Ice Beam, I think?
Yep.
So we're 75% of the way there to incredibly strong Crocmire items. What's it gonna be?
Ooh, X-Ray. Leno kind of thinking about it, but he says, why not? I'll take it.
Ironically, as we saw last match, X-Ray can be very powerful if you have it teamed up with Charge and Plasma. It saves a ton of time against Botwoon and Dragon. but you know, kind of a very specific set of circumstances to make use of it. Looks like Typo is doing exactly what we talked about, Sloters. He's about to put those GT classic skills to use here.
So the Various suit, it protects you from environmental damage sources twice as much compared to the vanilla game, so you might notice Typo's health is draining quite a bit slower than it normally does, so he'll have a good amount of attempts here, so he's probably not feeling too pressured, and he gets a second try. Very nice.
Yeah, well done. Slutters, if you were in their position again, you know, I'm never trying to suggest, and you aren't either, that, you know, one decision is 100% correct or whatever. It just kind of comes down to, you know, what you feel like you need to do in the moment. But if you were in Typo's position, would you go ahead and check screw attack, or would you just kind of roll?
Oh, absolutely. Check screw attack. It's a major item. He will be able to get out of there because he has screw, high jump, and speed, so he can do that RBO method. Because for all we know, it could be gravity, or it could even be charge, and both those items would be huge.
Great point, nice. Yeah. I think I'd play it safe and check it as well. The only thing, you know, I don't know the experience level of every single runner, but I would assume he's probably aware of the jump method out of there.
First try green gate glitch, by the way. Very nice typo.
Oh, yeah. Excellent job. It'll be a little bit easier for Leno because he already has space jump, so he'll just be able to kind of like jump straight out of there. Ooh. Not a bad reset there. He'll have to take the elevator ride again, but I understand the decision. And looks like we just saw Leno pick up the old charge beam at the speed booster location. So that is a huge get for him. And now he'll be, in addition to looking for some other items, he'll be very happy to find any of the beams, as they will continue to add value to Charge's abilities against the bosses.
Wow, right when you say that, plasma beam shows up for him.
And he already has wave, so at this point, in terms of damage, you know, in terms of the beam combos, ice adds the smallest amount. So he's already doing a ton of damage with wave and plasma together. That'll be great against Ridley and Dragon. Looks like that X-ray pickup is now going to be huge.
Yeah, he's going to be able to microwave pretty much all the bosses that you can microwave, so he could save a little bit of time doing that now.
Typo forgot for just a moment there that he had screw attack. He fired a few supers at the pirates and then remembered, so now he'll have to get the wall jump here, and now he's good to go, heading to Amphitheater. The only danger that Typo is in right now is he needs to be super careful. If he gets into the lava right here, he does not have gravity. Oh boy. This is how you can die in this room very easily.
Oh man. He landed on that platform right before hitting the pirate, so he loses that invulnerability from screw attack and takes a hit. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, that's definitely not good, but the good news is that in terms of the time that he died versus where he last saved, it's not that far away. That could have been a complete disaster if he had not saved before going into Lower Norfair. I kind of feel like I cursed him right there, acknowledging like the one thing that would have to happen for him to have a tough time in that room. But that is a legitimate concern when you come down here without gravity. You know, in a normal any % run or something, if you accidentally fall, you can just jump right out. But if you get caught in the lava without gravity, it can be very difficult to get out.
So it looks like Leno, he saved a Bubble Mountain, and he is going down. So I think he's going to attempt a high jumpless lava dive, it seems.
I will openly admit, I have no idea how to do that trick.
You know, I've been practicing it a little bit lately just because I wanted to be prepared, just in case it would come in handy in these randos. And it is a little bit tricky, but if you have a lot of energy, it's not as bad as it seems. It definitely takes some practice, though, to kind of figure out the timing for it. But he seems to be pretty confident that he'll get it here. So for those that don't know, the reason why this is more difficult is because you don't have high jumps, so your wall jumps don't get as much air. So what you actually have to do to get enough air is go over to the enemy over to the left there, and the one from the right needs to shoot a fireball at you. You need to turn around as the fireball hits you. So that'll give you iframes, and by turning around it won't like make you like do like the D-boost thing and like kind of lose your momentum. And then you can wall jump up the spikes while you're invulnerable and have enough height to get over to the right side underneath the last nominee. Or Namahe, I call him that. But Leno, he reset there. I think he's deciding not to do it.
Just as a quick reminder, high jump was at X-ray, and typwo, when he found grapple at the spacer location, elected to immediately go back a couple of rooms and go check it before making his way back to Kraid, and Leno opted not to. And we kind of discussed how that could end up having a big impact, and to be quite frank, it kind of already has. Leno had some difficulty with that lower Norfair entrance and eventually had to give it up and reset. So typwo, he had to try twice, I think, to get in. So unfortunately for Leno, not doubling back to X-ray might have cost him a little bit of time. And I don't think, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think Lava Spark will work unless you have gravity. So that's why you didn't see runners attempt that. Plus, that's a very tough trick that not very many runners use that trick in many of the categories. So not surprised to see people not use that one.
On top of a very tight short charge, you need to pull off your spark with a somewhat of a tight window. So it is definitely not an easy trick to do. And we see Leno now checking X-ray, so he's going to get those high jump boots, and he's probably thinking to himself, now I can go down in lower Norfair. Easy peasy. Yeah, and if I were him, I would elect to just go straight back because, he's only killed Kraid. The most optimal routing in these randomizers is Kraid, Ridley, Dragon, Phantoon. And so, we might see that route depending on where gravity is. But at minimum, he's not that far away from the elevator. He can just go straight back down there instead of heading up to wreck ship. But we'll see what he decides to do here. Yeah, it looks like that's what he's going to elect to do. Okay, so let me go ahead and explain and fill in as needed, Sloters. Basically, in terms of ammo other than power bombs, if we're just talking about supers and regular missiles, typwo has the exact amount to kill Ridley. So he would have to hit every super and every regular missile to kill Ridley. If he misses any of those, which it's very difficult to hit them all, he'll have to use power bombs to make up the difference. Power bombs do 200 damage each, but can technically hit Ridley twice, as we just saw there, so that's 400 damage. Looks like typwo knows this and is going to go ahead and start getting a few of these off here. Ridley does not like those power bombs. When you lay them, he will fly away as far as he can.
Yeah. I always like, I know this seems random, but every time that I see somebody lay a power bomb and then Ridley just behaves the way that he does, it reminds me of like a dog in a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
You know, it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna, oh, no, I don't want to have anything to do with that.
So typwo getting at least like 4,000 damage there, probably quite a bit more, so that saved himself quite a bit of supers.
Plus, he still has, you know, decent health, so he can take this kind of slow. Nice and easy.
Meanwhile, Leno getting up from the lava dive spot. Very nice job, and he is choosing to save.
Uh-oh, missed a super there. Still has plenty of power bombs, but I think that's getting close to being enough damage. Should be. Very nice. I'm hoping for the gravity suit here. Ooh. Definitely not required at this point, but again, bombs, never bad to find bombs.
Yeah, they do have quite a bit of power bombs, so they can substitute those instead of using bombs, but by having bombs now, they don't have to use them, which makes the game lag a lot less, and also in case they run into trouble in the Metroid rooms, they can detach the Metroid, so still some good reasons to pick up bombs this late in the game.
Absolutely. I think your point about the lag is the one that's often the most overlooked, because simple reality is, you know, using power bombs in a lot of the rooms causes a ton of lag, and if you don't have regular bombs, you're forced to use them over and over in a lot of spots you wouldn't normally want to. So in the long run, that will save a significant amount of time. I think in the last run, I could be mistaken, but I was counting the number of ammo usage, and it said that typwo had dropped like 80-something bombs. So if you imagine dropping 80-something power bombs over the course of a run, that's a lot of lag.
So typwo making his way to the red key hunter shaft, and Leno, I'm assuming, will be around there at the same time, so we might get a little bit of high five action here. And right about here. typwo checking the fire fleet tank now. Let's see what he finds. Energy tank. Not what he wanted, but it is a decent refill, so he'll take it.
It wasn't that coveted spring ball he was looking for, but I guess he'll have to accept it.
So Leno dancing with the pirates a little bit. He doesn't have all the beams, so I think he might need like an extra shot on these pirates than you normally would have to do.
Yeah, I don't think you can two-shot them, or, you know, you can one-shot them, but technically when you one-shot them in a normal run, you're actually hitting them twice with one shot, so I think that's impossible here, as you pointed out. Now, assuming that typwo elects to just immediately do Bubble Mountain, we know that he's going to be in complete go mode after that. Well, I take that back. He doesn't have gravity yet, but he will be good in terms of his his damage, and he will probably opt to not really collect any more minor items. But we'll see what all he chooses to check here. Leno starting his Ridley fight.
I'm not sure if Leno checked all the items here, but I don't think Spring or Ice was anywhere, or could be anywhere along this path, so Meridia is really not an option for typwo at this point, so he'll probably end up just going back up to Rex ship looking for those. Or gravity suit.
I think we're going to see Plasma Charge and like an E-Tank maybe, and I think Crocomire was the Space Jump and X-Ray. So assuming that typwo checks all of Bubble Mountain, he should come away very happy with what he finds. Leno with a great Ridley fight there. I think this is the charged location, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I thought it was Speed Booster or Wave, but I couldn't remember.
And that feeling that everybody feels right now is a lot of stress coming off of typwo. Every time you find Charge Beam in a randomizer, it's a very nice moment.
Leno coming out of Wasteland now, making good use of that screw attack and another nice short charge into his speedball.
We had a question in chat. Is either player in go mode? Technically, no. To be completely in 100% go mode, you would need to have gravity. Now, technically, you can get through Meridia without gravity, but in terms of just like overall being able to do the normal things, they're one item shy here. As soon as either one finds gravity, since they already both have charge, and in particular, since they have plasma and wave, and they really just do not need any more minor items. As soon as they find gravity, I think you're going to see the runners just kill bosses and roll a Torian.
Yeah, if they found Ice too, they could do suitless Meridia if they wanted to, and they actually wouldn't need gravity, but they would much rather find gravity, so Meridia's not so slow.
True. And typwo, I haven't really been paying too close attention to exactly where he's finding. He's got 5 power bomb packs, so if he never finds Ice, it's not a big deal at all. Whereas Leno would like to find at least one more power bomb pack before Torian if he does not find Ice, simply because you don't want to have to go into Torian, power bomb the Metroids, and risk the RNG of not getting the drops.
That was really weird that shot just missed on Crocomire.
Crocomire too strong there.
You know, in my opinion, he has the worst hitbox for any boss. Like, I can't tell you how many supers I've missed that were like literally in his mouth.
I wholeheartedly agree.
A lot of people will probably say it's Botch Wound, but I vote Crocomire for that one.
I agree.
So because typwo is taking his time now to check Crocomire here, Leno was already down there, so he's heading straight up to Rex ship, so he looks to be ahead by quite a bit right now.
Yeah, Leno finding charge prior to typwo, like it's funny, typwo was in the lead in my opinion earlier because he already had high jump boots and was able to get to lower Norfair very quickly, but not having charge beam for the Ridley fight and having to use all those power bombs ended up taking a significant amount of time that Lenophis did not have to take. Ooh, look at what Leno's doing. Interesting choice here. Heading back to Waterway.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's probably what he's thinking right now. Like, maybe that's where gravity is. So maybe I should take this way back up just to be sure that it's not there instead of at wreck ship.
And so this could end up being a game-defining move, because if gravity happens to be down here, he's definitely going to be ahead, and even further ahead if typwo chooses not to. But if it's not there, he's allowing typwo to have some opportunity to catch up if typwo elects not to go check there. So let's see what happens. This is very exciting. Nope.
Ooh, just need take.
So now if typwo, and of course, the runners are not aware of what is happening with the other runner. But if typwo just decides, hey, I'm going to go ahead and head straight to wreck ship, and if I don't find anything up there, then I'll go back to Waterway, then he just made up a little bit of time here. Actually, a pretty decent amount of time. But as you know, if he opts to go check as well, then he's just as far behind as he was. Well, Sloters, we got a really good one here, don't we, for the last one?
Yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way, man. I love when these races are this close, especially in a Game 3 scenario like this. It's exciting.
I don't fully know what Leno's doing here. Is this actually faster? Is he just going to go up and save at the ship and maybe check Gauntlet? Is that why he went this direction, as opposed to going back to Red Tower?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never timed it or know anyone who has. I've always assumed just going up Red Tower is the fastest way if you're coming from the Norfair elevator. But
it was 6 spark there.
Yeah. That'd be an interesting thing to look into, though.
Looks like typwo is also going to check Waterway. Interesting. So typwo had a chance. He didn't know it, but he had a chance to catch up some time. Unfortunately for him, he will not be gaining any time off of this decision.
So having space jump and screw attack right now makes Gauntlet just such a breeze and so much faster than if you were to attempt it, right out of the gate after getting some power bombs or whatever.
Right. I guess Leno checked here. I guess what he was hoping for was ice, would be my assumption, because gravity, neither suit can be in Gauntlet. And, okay, we can sit here and say, yes, Spring Ball could have been up there too, but in reality, Spring Ball at this point is definitely not an item that they need to have. It's going to add a ton of value. So I guess he was hoping for ice, came up empty, and now we'll be heading over to wreck ship to fight Fanny Pack.
Oh man, Leno at the very end of the ocean there, but didn't quite get on to the last platform, so he's actually going to have to jump all the way back through the water so we can set up his space jumping again.
That is very unfortunate. And typwo taking the more traditional path, so I can't say with 100% certainty, but assuming that he doesn't check Gauntlet, he's probably going to make up a decent amount of time here on Leno. Oh no.
Oh. That is when you're doing any percent and you come here and you fall in the water at the very end on accident. That is one of the worst walks back. So Leno, he will be approaching Fantoon very soon here, and typwo making his way up this criteria elevator.
Yeah, he's probably behind, I would assume, by about a minute to a minute and a half, just kind of depending on how quickly he can get through some of this. So we might actually see Fanny's, patterns make a big difference here. Ooh, fast.
Last race we saw them high five in Fanny's room, and we might see it again. Oh, you know what? Leno is using the microwave on Fantoon, so he's probably dead right now. So I take back what I just said.
There you go. He is dead indeed.
They might meet like in the door transition.
Oh, Manival just made a point that I was not aware of, but that actually kind of makes sense. He said that the Fantoon batters will be exactly the same for both runners. Is that true, Slutters? Does it not matter?
Yeah. Ponk told me that the other day, that the Fantoon patterns are actually the same.
Well, that is awesome.
Yep.
Thank you for that knowledge, Manival. That's great to know. And you know what? That sounds great, because that's the only fair way to do it.
I wonder if that's like the same for like any of the other boss battles, like Batwoon, or maybe like the swoops that Dragon does. I don't know if they figured out how to standardize that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question, man. Speaking of which, since you just mentioned it, I'll just ask this to the chat for some fun times here. What's the record number of swoops that any of you have ever had against Dragon in terms of swoops, number of swoops in a row? I've got to assume that I'm probably going to have one of the stronger contenders.
Yeah, I'm going to say you might be the winner of that. Because that was crazy, man. What was that, like 16 or 18 or something?
It was 18, yeah. 18 in a row. And I have proof. So...
Swoop, there it is.
Indeed. Okay, so nothing overly important there at the first item location. Let's see what Leno finds up here at the E-Tank. Ooh, baby. Slutters, do you know what that ice beam means, man?
Well, we could potentially see a suitless Meridia still.
That's correct. We are still very much alive for a suitless Meridia attempt, potentially. There's only 2 spots left for Leno to check. Obviously, it could be at either spot, but if it is not, boys and girls, get buckled up.
I might be totally wrong here, but I want to say I heard there's like a 4% chance of suitless Meridia in these seeds. So if it happens, that would be pretty crazy.
True, but I think I've casted like 6 or 8 matches, and 2 of them have been suitless. So, when I'm around, it's more like 25, 30%. So let's see what we got. And now the coveted space jump screw attack attic here. I gotta admit, I'm kind of hoping that we get a suitless attempt here. Oh, we didn't even get to see what it was.
Oh, man. Oh, well, I guess we'll see what Leno decides to do and see if he thought it was worth it or not.
He ran out of there super fast. I wonder if that was a run out like, oh, I'm super excited, or a, oh my gosh, no.
Could be either one, man.
Maybe it was Spacer and he was just disgusted.
Or maybe it was Spring Ball and he was super pumped.
That's true. I tell you what, though, if he runs over to the right, we can pretty much assume that it's gravity. If he runs to the right and it's Spring Ball, that's going to be the greatest moment of this entire tournament. Okay. Oh baby, I'm nervous to see what we get here. Oh, he's going left. It wasn't gravity. Oh my goodness, boys and girls. It's time.
Yeah, there's aren't any other spots, are there? So they got to do it. They got the gear. It's time.
Double E tank.
Now let's hope. Let's hope now that gravity is behind Batwoon, because that is kind of the furthest point it can be. So we'll get as much suitless Meridia as we can there.
I always feel bad when we root for stuff like this because we're sitting here like, oh, we're so excited, and you know the runners are like, oh my god, no, please. Shout out to US Mill Gamer, just subscribed with Twitch Prime. Thank you for subscribing to Speed Gaming and supporting all of the great content that goes on here.
Thank you for announcing those, Kip. I'm reading chat off a tablet, so I can't see any of that.
No problem, man. Always great to see people supporting the Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 channels. Yeah, Fruit Bat Salad just made a great point. I think, Sloters, this might be the last match I'm allowed to commentate on, dude. It's been a good run. Okay, Leno is officially in here. Now, I've brought this up in past matches. It most likely will not be a problem, but you actually have to be a little more careful with Plasma as opposed to Spazer when doing some suitless attempts. Because Plasma is so powerful and can sometimes, depending on how you shoot it, hit an enemy twice. You might accidentally kill an enemy that you need to jump on, and if that happens, you literally have to reset the room. Plus, anybody who happens to run RBO that is already familiar with suitless Meridia, you never have Plasma during the suitless attempts. So, yeah, sorry. I feel like every time I mention a bad thing that can happen, it immediately happens.
Yeah, I think you're definitely going to be put on a list now that runners do not want you to commentate for them.
Yeah, I think so. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to go ahead and say thank y'all. It's been a pleasure commentating throughout this tournament. I'll be seeing a lot of you guys in chat in the future, I believe.
Well, Kip, I hope they at least let you do a couple more so we can squeeze in some more matches together. I know some people, they keep a list of people who have generated some really bad seeds, and they don't let them make the seeds when they do races together.
Yeah, oh no.
Plasma beam, striking again. Okay,
in all seriousness, honestly, if I were in their position, I would probably turn it off. I would probably just do wave and ice. I think it takes 5 or 6 shots to freeze most of the creatures. Well, typwo. And typwo now doing exactly what I was talking about. Well, he only elected to turn off wave, but actually that's not so bad. I could see that being okay. Okay, now Leno turning it off as well. I think, yep, now time. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we've now come full circle. Everybody's on the same page.
Leno making it up. That fish is so annoying. I bet he is very relieved to be up now.
Actually, DRK, excuse me. Not sure how to pronounce your name, but yeah, this is actually one of those spots where Spazer comes in incredibly handy. The combination of wave, Spazer, and ice makes it to where you only have to hit the crabs twice and the fish 3 times to freeze them. So that's the typical preferred method for people who are familiar with RBO.
Poor typwo. He was trying to freeze the enemy, and he shot the door open on accident and jumped through the door.
Yeah. Well, Leno's made it up, and here's the incredibly interesting thing. Unless I somehow missed it, I don't think I did. Leno could be making a very time-costly mistake here. It just depends. We'll see. But the suit can only be in 3 spots. Is that correct, Sloters?
Yep.
It can only be at Botwoon, at Sandpit, or at Mama Turtle. So I guess technically I can kind of see what Leno's doing here. I guess he's going to save and then check Sandpit. If it's not there, maybe he'll reset and opt to go check Mama Turtle. But a lot of times people will try to check Mama Turtle immediately, and then if they don't get it, they'll just climb back up again. So just depending on how quickly he can do these things, it might end up costing time. So we'll see.
You know, I can understand the gamble, though, because if gravity is not at Mama Turtle, then you got to make that climb back up this... what's this room? I can't think of the Main Street. That's what it's called. So right. if it's not down there, you know, you got to take some more time climbing up here. Oh,
Spring
we
ball.
see Spring Ball.
Okay, well, I'm just happy that at this point, everybody who wants to hate on me about Spring Ball can now aim their hate in another direction for a short time, because we just saw Leno completely ignore it.
You know, maybe he wants to get gravity and he'll come back for it. I can see it happening.
Yeah, he's not gonna leave it there for too long, surely. Okay, now Leno is ignoring Mama Turtle and hoping that it's gonna be a Botwoon. If it's there, this will save a lot of time. If it's not, this could be the game-deciding decision of this entire 3-game series. Oh my goodness, Sloters.
I didn't catch what happened there. I think typwo might have killed the crab there, because he's having to wait for that other crab to come up the other way now, so he gets a platform.
Yeah. There we go. He should be fine at this point, assuming he doesn't accidentally fall anywhere.
And Leno doing the Machtroid clip there. Since he does not have gravity, he cannot use Speed Booster to break the speed blocks there, so you just do a little clip there to get through a crumble block ceiling.
Okay, let's see what typwo's going to elect to do. Looks like he's going to Mama Turtle. Okay, we're about to find out. Oh, goodness.
Oh, you know what? He was probably just thinking he might not have the right beams to freeze that fish through that door, so he's gonna go through the right side instead, just to be safe.
Oh, look at what Leno found.
Oh, man. What a gamble by Leno.
That's going to do it right there, more than likely, because typwo's going to take some time checking Mama Turtle, and then he'll have to make the climb once more. So congratulations to Leno on finding gravity at Botwoon. Sloters, it was exactly like you predicted.
You know, I didn't think I'd be able to commentate a suitless Meridia, and I'm so glad it was in that spot. And it's just fun to watch, because this is not a situation a lot of runners have to find themselves in, so it's interesting to see how they react.
For sure. And, you know, it doesn't necessarily with 100% certainty mean that the game is over. We've seen some very bizarre things happen in these races, but Leno obviously in a dominating position at this point.
So I would expect Leno to do another microwave here and take out Dragon. Probably the fastest way at this point, I would assume. Once again, crouching down there so that once Samus stands up, he knows it's time, and a nice one-round kill.
Well done.
So he knows where Spring Ball's at, he does not want Spacer, and he is not going to check the item behind Dragon because it will be of no use to him. Meanwhile, typwo making his way back up. Ooh. Accidentally killing that fish. Now he's kind of thinking, what should I do here? It looks like he's gonna just go back over to Main Street and just climb.
So
another choice? Oh, go ahead.
No, it's alright, go right ahead.
I was just gonna say he could have probably reloaded the room and then just tried to freeze the fish again, but he was probably weighing it out in his head what way is faster and just decided to do this.
For sure. The only thing I was going to ask, because I'm not 100% sure, have we basically seen every item in the game checked except for Plasma and Shaktul?
I think so, yeah.
So both runs, twice in a row, they end up with a ton of the major items. Got a feel for typwo here, having to reset the room at the very bottom. I'm going to have to do the entire climb again. And he already knows that gravity's going to be in one of the two locations that he's going to have to get up and save for. So it wouldn't surprise me when he makes it up if he saves and does the same thing Leno did and checks stand pit first. But all jokes aside, I think having a game 3 decided in a manner in which, you know, is not typical, I'm sure is a bit frustrating.
Oh, okay, very nice. typwo, he initially shot a super, but the crab was barely out of range for the super to make him drop, and he noticed that, so he jumped up and made sure he shot to get that crab down, or else he'd have to reload the room.
Leno filling up at the ship and now heading to Torian. Try to finish this run out. Slutters, correct me if I'm wrong, is in terms of normal Super Metroid speedruns, RBO is the only one that requires a suitless Meridia, correct?
The most popular categories, yeah, but there's also like Ice Booster, where you have to come through here without gravity and also carry a blue suit. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever even seen anybody run one of those, so it just, I guess, you know, when people in the chat who might not play as much Super Metroid as some of the runners, if you see anybody, you know, having any difficulty with the suitless Meridia, that's because it's just not something that happens very often. And there's only roughly 50-55 people who have even submitted a time for RBO, so a lot of the runners do not typically do suitless Meridia, so it can be very, very challenging if you're not accustomed to it.
So Leno's been making his way through the Metroid rooms, finishing up with the last one now. So he got latched a little bit there, but he's got bombs, so no big deal. And he's got really good ammo, his health is fine, so hopefully we'll see a baby skip attempt here. I don't think either runner went for it last time, they just opted to take a refill.
Looks like we will not be seeing the baby skip attempt.
So now Leno, he's taking off Varia, which will make the stand-up glitch a little bit easier to execute. And he also took off Screw Attack, so he's probably looking to do the Ice Zeb skip.
Gotta hand it to typwo here, though, as we've seen other runners throughout the tournament. Just, refusing to give up. Very admirable. Sticking with it until the very end. These suitless Meridia attempts can be incredibly frustrating. And they're very unforgiving. Some of the most unforgiving things that you might even have to attempt. So props to him for sticking it out and doing everything he can to try to finish here.
And Leno getting right up into Mother Brain's face, just piling supers on. Now he's moving on to the Mother Brain 2 fight. He has he has the best beam combination right now. So it's only going to take 20 charge shots to trigger Mother Brain into using her rainbow attack.
Yeah, and that's the second game in a row we've seen that. There hasn't been too much drama for Mother Brain 2.
One thing, if you look at typwo's screen right now, the underwater grapple physics are pretty interesting when you don't have gravity suit. You actually fly like a lot farther than you would with gravity suit.
Yeah, the underwater physics without gravity and with grapple are incredibly interesting. The first time I ever saw anybody do that was actually you, Sloters, when you ran your first RBO that day. And watching the movement was just like mind-boggling because I didn't even know that that was possible. So a lot of people in chat might be seeing this for the very first time and realizing that there's so much more to the physics of this game beyond just the normal runs.
It looks like Leno is going for stand-up. He seems to have hit most, if not all, of his shots so far. And since he does have the best beam combination, if he gets enough shots in, he will only need one shot of his hyper beam to take down Mother Brain 3. And based on the color I'm seeing right now, it looks like he might still need a couple shots, but still very respectable stand-up. I think that was 2.
Yeah, well done by Leno there. So now he will just need to exit, and he will get the win and move on to the next round of the losers bracket, staying alive for one more round at minimum. I think the gravity-less pit sandpit check is probably my least favorite in the entire game.
Yeah, that's another one of those rooms I just try to avoid as much as possible.
Admittedly easier to do, and in my experience with spring ball, I like using the spring ball jump for that part.
And Leno now doing the final spark up the climb room.
Yeah, GG to Leno. Great races today. Did very well with suitless Meridia. Congratulations to him for moving on. GG.
And coming up to the ship now, Leno finishes with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 36 seconds. GG to him. That is a pretty decent time for having to do suitless Meridia.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a quick question, Slutters. I've never thought about this before. If you were to use X-ray, like in mid-fall, because I just never really have X-ray much, if you were falling and you used it, would you hover in midair, or would it not allow you to use it until you hit the ground?
I don't think you can use it in midair. I honestly, I've never tried, but I don't think you can.
That would be my assumption.
Chat will probably enlighten us.
Yeah, I figured you probably couldn't, but I was going to say, if you knew that you could somehow, if the mechanics allowed you to, then having that equipped as soon as you enter this room might be a little bit easier if you're suitless.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I've never thought about that until just this moment, but again, it's probably a moot point anyway.
So as you can probably guess, typwo, he is forfeited from the race. GG to him, he did very well. Fortunately for Leno, he took a gamble with not checking Mama Turtle, and that gave him quite the edge after he found gravity after Batwoon.
Indeed, and I think we would be remiss if we did not mention the fact that typwo is one of the main people that is helping to put on and manage this entire tournament. So behind the scenes, he's putting commentators together, making sure that the matches are running the way that they're supposed to run, basically helping us all out in any way possible. So even though he's been knocked out of the tournament, his influence will certainly still be around, and we want to say a big thank you to him for all the work he's been putting in. Yes, and another reminder, as always, please follow the runners. That is typwo and Lenophis. Both great runners. Typwo, as Kip said, he has been a big help in organizing this tournament. So drop those guys a follow. Absolutely, and as always, every single time we get to the end of one of these, we've got to give a special shout out to Fiesel for incredible work in putting on these streams and allowing the Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 channels to showcase all of these runners' skills. So thank you again, Fiesel. Sloters, it was an absolute pleasure, man. I'm really glad that we were able to commentate together. Yep, I remember we did sign up for one together, and it was a game 3. It didn't happen. I was pretty upset, but the next time I saw you had an open game, I jumped on that. Yeah, dude, it was a lot of fun, and we got to do Suitless Meridia together, so that was cool as well. Yep, definitely. So at this point, I believe that's, unless I'm mistaken, I think that's the last race of the day in terms of the Super Metroid Randomizer tournament. But there will still be some other content on the Speed Gaming channels, unless I'm mistaken. So you guys make sure to follow Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 for all kinds of cool speed running events. With that being said, my name is Southern Kip. Once again, thank you again, Sloters, and I'm going to call it there. Everybody out there, y'all have an excellent evening. Yep, have a good night, everybody.